So for you guys, let's play a nostalgia game to kind of wrap up. Each of you, I'd love to hear kind of a thought from the three of you. If you could go back in a time machine to the 18-year-old version of yourself, and like knowing everything that you know now, like what sort of advice would you give them?
That's deep, man. Yeah.
I would just say don't do it alone. That would be, and then and the core component of that also would be is take the risk, because because that's what I did. Is I did take the risk. It literally, like, I was set up in a position where I could have gone the corporate route in college, and I decided not to, and ended up going and doing entrepreneurship. So I would have just confirmed it, and would have just been like, hey, like when you're poised for that decision, take the risk and don't do it alone, because that was the biggest thing that stopped me from like my first company from like going anywhere so significantly, is I tried to do everything myself. And when I partnered up with these guys, like we took it to the moon. So
good.
Yeah. Well, I would say, there's a lot of stuff that comes to mind in regards to this. I would say we talked a lot about people and relationships, but I think, we could all agree that the absolute most important relationship is that vertical line that we draw with God. And I think that having that first and foremost, no matter what kind of trials and tribulations that you go through, is absolutely the most important thing. So that's from more of like a faith perspective. I'd say from a business perspective, I think I would just say continue to really be a sponge. Because that's like literally what we do. That's what I do, engaging with other people. It's like trying to make that person feel like the best person in the world and getting the most out of them. Just with every interview, you really learn something new. So I would say at that point in time, you're starting all over, it's like get really savvy with the business aspect of media. Because I could say right now, if we were to do it all over again, the very first thing that we probably would have done is start getting those emails, start really like understanding like the business side of like the media and stuff like that. Like, we've said that a big theme of this has been like people, and like, again, like early on, like, we didn't do a great job of like delegating those MWAs, the minimum wage activities, right? We interviewed a 195 million lumber entrepreneur in Houston. He said at a certain point, the business owner can't be worried about the price of the toilet paper, which is extremely true. So it's like early on, it's like, hey, this is the money that we're making. This is all what we're focused on. This is the kind of aspects of the business that we're going to run with. But it's like all these things that aren't, adding a lot of money and are very low leverage. Let's, get other people in. Like Grant said, it's like you got 3 employees, you got a problem. The more you scale, the more you grow. It's like, it's ultimately going to generate more revenue if you have the right people on the bus, the right people rowing the boat with you.
Probably tell myself 2 things. One is you got to change your environment. I feel like first of all, the DC area and just the people I was hanging out with were not really supportive of like entrepreneurship at all. And I feel like at times that would honestly create those thoughts of just like limiting beliefs. I can't do this. Like maybe am I doing this all wrong? Like, is entrepreneurship really for me? So one would be just change your environment. And then the second thing would probably be to eliminate your ego. Especially like when you're first getting started out, like it's okay to ask for help and just be completely transparent with people with where you're at and what you're struggling with. Because if you're not honest about where you're at or the things that you're actually struggling with and need help with, then you won't actually get the real answers that you want. You're just getting a half-assed answer, and you're not giving people the full picture, and they're not actually able to give you real advice on your current situation. So I'd probably say, one is change your environment to people that are actually like-minded and are or are headed to where you want to go. And then 2, just eliminate ego, and it's okay to ask for help.
And one last thing I'll add on to this too, because it came to mind, is that another person that we had interviewed back in May was Dean Graziosi. Are you familiar with Dean? Scottsdale entrepreneur. He's done over $1 billion throughout his career. Business partners with Tony Robbins. Is that he said, if he were to go back to his 20-year-old self, he said, back then when I was 20 years old, I would have, if you had asked me, I would have thought that it was 90% being in the right, the right business vehicle, rowing the right boat, and 10% mindset. And he said, now, knowing everything I know now, it's actually 90% mindset, 10% being in the right vehicle. And I think it's very important, because whether it's people having that fear of rejection, getting discouraged by not getting the amount of views that they're getting, all those little things, the limiting beliefs that a lot of entrepreneurs have, the doubts that are placed on themselves from themselves or just other people, that tarnishes somebody, right? And I think it's only right that we drop this one, right? At the end here, right? Do we need one more?
Here we go.
You ready? All right. I have a question for you. All right. Do you know which one's coming?
Yep.
Do you know where the most valuable piece of real estate is?
In between your two ears.
No. It's in graveyards because there's billion-dollar ideas sitting in the ground for people that never took action.
You got me.
Come on, man.
I love dropping that one because it's so true, man. Think about the amount of deceased people that had great ideas. They never acted. They never implemented because they got in their own head, because they listened to other people. And they could have built something impactful,
Bro,
legacy, something like that. And
There's 7 days in the week, and some day isn't one of them.
He comes back. Let's go. Wait.
There's 7 days of the week, and some day is not one of them.
Wow.
That's a banger.
That's amazing. So in other words, you're saying that start now.
Yeah.
And not tomorrow.
100%.
You know why, right? Because procrastination is the assassination of all destinations.
I feel like I'm in the middle of a rap battle.
Sound
Hey, come on, give us.
I mean, like, we're just throwing sound bites out there. Price is only an issue if value is absent.
Yeah. Oh man, I mean, y'all have put me on the spot right now. I mean,
You ever read the War of Art by Stephen Pressfield?
No.
I've heard that so I haven't read it, but I've heard that for like people that are in any sort of creative business or just like creatives in general, like need to read that book.
Bro, it's crazy. And he talks about like the difference between an amateur and a professional. And he says like the amateur will always write the symphony tomorrow, and the professional starts today. And it's that action orientated mindset that sets the 1% apart from everyone else.
And that has nothing to do with skill.
No.
It has nothing to do with skill. It's just urgency.
Yeah.
Yeah.